Welcome to the Gus Alva Perspective, a videocast that aims at elevating the notion of abundance and gratitude over the mindset of fear and scarcity. Recently, I was having a discourse with one of my daughters, and she said, Dad, why is it that we should continuously strive to educate ourselves and have a loftier level of learning? And the thematic brought about the notion of intellectuals and society. And the theme that I'd like to touch on today is just that, intellectuals and society. Have you ever considered yourself an intellectual? Well, if you haven't, you should aspire to do so. And I'll tell you why. Intellectuals play a vital role in shaping and influencing society in various ways. Their contributions encompass a wide range of fields, including academia, science, technology, arts, humanities, philosophy, and social sciences. And what I'd like to do through this video cast is to explore the relationship between so-called intellectuals and society and how it is that they interplay and why they're so critically important. Well, first and foremost, if you think of intellectuals, they typically will be generating knowledge and ideas. Intellectuals oftentimes engage in research, an area that I've been deeply involved with over a quarter of a century in the neuropsychiatric space. We oftentimes have to analyze information, and critical thinking is necessary to generate new knowledge and ideas, and part of the reason by which I love the field that I work in, medicine. Now, intellectuals tend to contribute to the advancement of society by exploring uncharted territories and proposing innovative solutions to existing problems. Particularly, the theme that I was touching on with my daughter was the artistic expression. And when you think of culture and artistic expression, it's really important because intellectuals oftentimes create and shape cultural trends, artistic movements, literary works. And through their creativity, they reflect and influence societal values, beliefs, norms, and promote a deeper understanding of the human experience that we all share. Now, another very important area that we've seen, a lot of suffering in recently is social critique and commentary. Nowadays, there are people that are more cancel culture individuals, but the reality is that intellectuals will analyze societal structures and practice, uh, things that might create policy changes by providing critical commentary and challenging the status quo. People oftentimes will advocate for positive change. And if you think about the educational sphere, many intellectuals are oftentimes educators shaping the minds of future generations. This is a very important task because this is a responsibility that can be used for good or bad. But ideally, intellectuals should inspire, guide, provide knowledge and skills needed to foster a well-informed and engaged society, which ultimately helps elevate all of us. And it's critical that we take into consideration public discourse and opinion. Intellectuals oftentimes contribute to public discourse by participating in debates, writing articles, giving talks, engaging with the media. And by the way, that's one of the most amazing things about living in the US is that we have this liberty of speech and have the ability to opine on different themes. When you think of intellectuals, they bring expert opinions and analysis to important societal issues. If you take a look at social movements or activism, this is important too, because championing social causes or leading movements for change is one area in which we oftentimes see, uh, you know, some very important changes ensue by providing intellectual foundations or arguments or strategies. You know, Intellectuals help mobilize communities and effect lasting change. So the key thing here is that we also need to take into consideration ethical and moral guidance. Guiding society and navigating complex ethical dilemmas is a really important area that I think requires a bit more attention to at the present time. By developing ethical frameworks, better decision-making behavior can subsequently be seen. Ultimately, also a preservation of historical events, traditions, or cultural heritage are some of the things that intellectuals oftentimes, help out with. And by fostering critical thinking, we encourage individuals to question and analyze and evaluate information critically. And ultimately, this helps people be more independent and more discerning. And by bridging global gaps, we now have an opportunity of understanding and sharing diverse perspectives and fostering cooperation between different individuals so that we can actually be a bit more connected and more informed. Now, keep in mind that the reason for these video casts is to help elevate an abundance mindset. And as I was having this conversation with my daughter, particularly as it related to, the theater and acting and so on, it made me think about, all of the different contributions that intellectuals bring about, not just from my space in the sciences, but also the artistic realm and the other areas that we were discussing earlier. But remember, our abundance mindset should help us comprehend that intellectuals play a multifaceted role in society. In, again, a short way, one of the things that I was sharing with my daughter is that intellectuals contribute in providing, knowledge and, evoking societal critique and cultural expression and policy formulation and ethical guidance, but there's so much more. And their collective efforts help in shaping the values and the progress and the overall well-being of society that ultimately helps contribute towards having a better world for all of us. And thus, the reason as to why I commenced by saying, if you don't consider yourself an intellectual, maybe you should, because ultimately we want to be those drivers that actually help in evoking positive change in our immediate environment, our communities, and ultimately the world that we share with everyone. Thank you so much for joining us on the Gus Alva Perspective on this thematic of intellectuals and society. Have a great day.